So far so good. We have completed 3 illustrations under optimal product mix. We solved a regular question last week. Thereafter, we proceeded to calculating another question that involved minimum allocation. And then we ended the class by solving a question that involved optimal mix involving make or buy. So we have one more illustrations to go. One more illustration to go under this, which is optimal means involving special order. How do you treat a question whereby you are given a single constraint and then there's a special order to be satisfied? When you have this kind of a question, how do you treat it? And that's what we want to do today. Then once we are done with the question, then we proceed to, I will introduce you to our linear programming. Worst case, we should be able to complete all relevant concepts in on linear programming. Okay? If we still have time, then we can have one illustration. All right then, so let's start with this illustration number 5, which is Kikelomo Limited. All right. So I will read. Kikelomo Limited manufactures 3 products, K, T, and F, using different quantities of the same resources. Budget information per unit is as follows. The budgeted sales are for the month of June, but do not include an order from a major customer to supply 400 units per month of each of the 3 products at a discount of 200 naira per unit from the market selling price. Okay, I can see we have a special order. Okay, during June, the management of Kikelomo Limited anticipated that there will be a shortage of material B and that only 17,500 kilograms will be available. Okay, I can also see single constraints. It is not possible for Kikelomo Limited to hold inventory of any raw materials, work in progress, or finished products. Required. A. State 3 factors which may cause input material to be a budget constraint and identify steps which may be taken to overcome these constraints. Then B. Prepare calculations to show production that will maximize Kikelomo's profits for June. Okay. Next, Kikelomo Limited has now realized that the contract with the major customer does not have to be met in full for any of the 3 products. The customer will accept whatever Kikelomo is prepared to supply at the contracted price, but they will charge a financial penalty if Kikelomo does not supply them in full in June. Based on this additional information, calculate the lowest value of the financial penalty that the major customer will need to insert in the contract to ensure that Kikelomo Limited meets okay, let me take it. Calculate the lowest value of the financial penalty that the major customer will need to insert in the contract to ensure that Kikelomo Limited meet the order in full in June. D. Now assume that the shortage of material B is expected to continue far beyond June, and management of Kikelomo Limited has decided to outsource the production of some of the products. Advise the management of Kikelomo Limited on the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing. 30 marks. All right. So that is the question. In the A part, examiner is asking you to state 3 factors which may cause input material to be a budget constraint and identify steps which may be taken to overcome these constraints. Let me switch to the working notes so that quickly we can answer the question and then move on. All right. Okay, so this is solution to illustration number 5. I think that's 5. Yeah. Yes. Page 42. Solution to illustration 5. Page 42. All right. Number A, the name of the company first is Kikelomo Limited. In the A requirements, examiner is asking you to state the factors that may cause input material to be a budget constraint. All right. So what are those factors? What do you think can make material to be a constraint? Material, when you talk about inputs, when you want to produce, you are going to need raw material kilogram. You will need labor. All right. You also need labor hour, then you need energy. All right. So those are some of input material for production. So examiner is now asking you, what can make material to be a budget constraint? What kind of limitation, what kind of constraint can you have in relation to material? All right. That's what examiner is asking you here. So in this case, I will say causes or factors, causes of constraint on material inputs. On material inputs or input material, as the examiner put it. Okay, so what can make material to be a budget constraint? Let me give you a clue. You know, when you want to produce, like I said, you are going to need material. If you don't have sufficient, the amount of material you are going to buy will depend on the amount of money you have to purchase the material. So what that means is that if you don't have sufficient funds to purchase the material, so that may limit your capacity to produce as many units as possible. So insufficient funds is one of the constraints. So I can say insufficient funds. Okay, that's a constraint. Therefore, how do you resolve this? Because it's not just about you stating the factors that can cause input material to be a budget constraint. Examiner is also asking you identify steps which may be taken to overcome these constraints. So how do you overcome these constraints? All right. What do? You go to you go to your bank, you borrow. All right. If you don't have the funds, if you don't have the required funds to purchase the raw material, what do? You borrow money and then you go and buy it. So that will resolve the issue. Okay. Now, what other constraint? Look, all of us, we have to participate in this question. If you want to talk, raise your hand. Don't send me a message. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Inadequate sources of input material. Okay, so I want to hear your voice. So don't send me chat message. So I want to hear your voice.
Inadequate. Inadequate source, sir.
Inadequate what?
Source of input materials.
Inadequate sources of input material. Can you elaborate?
Where we have limited source that we can get the required quantity for production.
Okay, inadequate supply. Is that what you want to say? Inadequate
If you
supply of
can,
material.
if you can reframe it, sir. But that's just my own idea.
It's okay. Of course, if the supplier does not have sufficient to deliver, of course, that will also, you can say scarcity instead of inadequate, you can say maybe scarcity of raw material. Of course, it's also a constraint. So I can say scarcity of raw material, of input material. Okay. So when there's scarcity of, well, how do you resolve this? When there's scarcity of the input material needed for production, how do you resolve it? Yes, everybody. So, Kemi, talk to me. Yes, Kemi.
Right, contribute. Another point, I'm a cause
Yes.
area. Unreliable supplier.
Take it again. I don't know whether it's my network. I can't
The
hear. I can barely hear you. Talk to me.
when the
Okay.
supplier they are not reliable.
Okay.
Hello,
No,
can you hear me now?
non-reliability of supplier. Right, Kemi? Do you want to
Yes,
say
sir.
non-reliability of
Yes,
supplier?
sir.
So of course, it's a constraint.
Yes,
Non-reliability of supplier. Supplier can disappoint. Once the supplier disappoints to deliver, then of course there will be a constraint because there won't be smooth production run. You can imagine you are in the production process and you need raw material to be supplied to your factory, and then supplier says, "Oh, we are bringing it," and then in 2 days you may not receive that that you may not take delivery of the material. So of course, how do you resolve this? This is very clear. You need to ensure you have a reliable supplier who can satisfy the existing capacity level. All right. Yes, Abdulateef, you raise hand again.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The solution to number two,
Okay.
scarcity of input
Input
material.
material. Yeah.
The solution could be would tends to internalize the source by generating the input material by ourselves. For example, now, if corn is part of an input material and
Yeah.
there is scarcity of it in the market,
Mm-hmm.
an entity can tend to acquire a land and plant such
You
in
are
larger
correct.
quantities so that
Co- You are correct. Valid point. Valid point. You are correct. Now, number four, let me add one more. What about storage space? Limited storage space. It's not just about storage space, so it's a constraint. So limited storage space. When you produce the material, when you buy the material, you are going to keep it in the warehouse or in a store. So the bigger the store, the bigger the size of the store, the bigger the amount of raw material you are going to keep in the warehouse, and vice versa. All right. So if you have a limited storage space, that means limit your capacity to purchase as many quantity as possible. How do you resolve this? You ensure that a limited, a sufficient storage space is available to accommodate the required the required material for production. Yeah. Okay. Any other one? Examiner says you should list three. So we have done four. Let's add one more. I can give additional two, but I want you to participate. Give me one more so that we can move to the next one. Yes. Any other one? What about seasonal variation? Okay. We also have inflation, price level changes. All right. When there is inflation, the amount of raw material to be bought will be lower relative to relative to when inflation is stable. So what that means is that more money will be needed to purchase raw material due to purchasing power. All right. So when there's inflation, of course, it's also a limitation, it's a constraint. How do we then resolve this? More money must be make more money available to purchase as many materials as possible. Only that it will become more expensive. All right? Yeah. So we can call it inflation or price level changes. It's the same thing as inflation. Okay? So you can also talk about seasonal variation. Yes, somebody was raising hand the other time. Okay, the person has brought it down. So
Sir,
in any case,
There's a
um,
mommy.
can we also talk of government regulations, sir?
government regulation.
As in maybe placing unexpected ban on a kind of I think it can still be under the scarcity of the input material.
Yeah, government regulation, government policy, yes,
Government
is a
policy.
constraint, especially if it's is an imported material, okay, needed for production. If government banned such products, of course, that will create scarcity in the market. All right. So it's also the constraint. All right. How do you resolve it? How do you resolve government policy? Yes, let's work around that. If government
Okay,
put
I
an
think
Okay.
embargo on importation
to,
of
to
raw
resolve
material,
it means that one will look for a kind of alternative.
local alternative, yes,
Yes,
yes, you are correct. So
yes.
government policy, yes, is a constraint. Let me add it.
Okay.
Okay.
What about distance? Like, is it cost transportation or something? Distance, location between um where the goods are being produced and where the raw materials are coming from.
Okay.
This
Distance.
or distance or location, I don't know.
If look where do we have, well, we can instead of this, we can talk about high cost of transportation. All right, because if there is high cost of transportation, the more the quantity of the material, the more transportation cost that you are going to incur. So in that case, of course, that will be a constraint because you cannot, as because of transportation costs, you cannot buy as much as possible. So in that case, what do you do to resolve it? You make additional funds available. How do you get the additional funds? You can borrow. All right. So government policy, that is e.g. embargo. All right. When you say government policy does not tell me. Government policy can be positive, can be negative. But when you say embargo, so that's clearer. So let's leave it at this. All right. So yes, that's number A. So we then go back to the B part of the question, which is examiner is asking you to prepare calculation to show production that will maximize Kikelomos Limited profit for June 2019. According to the question, examiner has told us that during June, the management of Kikelomos Limited anticipated that there will be a shortage of material B and that only 17,500 kilograms will be available. So that means this examiner has given you a clue that material B is the key limiting factor because material B is limited to 17,500 kilograms. So if that is the case, all we need to do is to follow the normal procedures for determining optimal production plan. However, when you look at this question, we have special order because after the table, immediately after the table in the question, examiner told you that the budgeted sales are for the month of June, but do not include an order from a major customer to supply 400 units per month of each of the three products. Okay, so that means there's a special order to supply 400 units of material B, for each product to a customer. So if that is the case, this is optimal mix involving special order. When there's optimal means involving special order, how do you treat it? So because of time, so I will come here, number B. All right. I can say, let's say first, okay. To do this, how do you, okay, let me just put it down. This represents on the day of your exam, don't go and be writing. If you write it, it's no penalty. You are just demonstrating that you are knowledgeable about the question. You have idea of what the question is or the requirement is asking you to do. So this represents optimal mix. Okay, optimal mix involving special order. Okay, special order to produce 400 units for each product. For each product. Therefore, what are you supposed to do in this instance? In this circumstance, what are you supposed to do? First thing first, normally, whenever we want to allocate, whenever you want to determine optimal product mix, you identify the key limiting factor by confirming by confirming the insufficiency in the key factor, comparing the required resources with the available resources. Then step 2, you confirm or check if management has placed priority or given minimum allocation for each product. If not, then you go to step 3 by calculating contribution/savings per unit. Then step 4, you determine contribution/saving per key factor. Then step 5, you prepare allocation table after your ranking. All right. Then step 6, you determine optimal production plan. Step 7, you determine the profit derivable. So, but when there is optimal mix involving make or buy, the first step you need to do is to determine, when you talk about special order, that means when there is special order, there will be 2 levels of production. You are only using your spare capacity to produce the special order because the focus is on the normal operation for the company. So what the unit that the company normally produce for its final products, you are given consideration for those. So it is when you will have spare capacity, idle capacity, that you can use to produce the special order. So in this instance, examiner has told you that the units you are given in this question does not include special order to produce 400 units for each product. So in this case, in this circumstance, the first thing we are going to do is to determine the number of units required for production. So in this case, that would be the normal production plus the special order. So I can then say, I can come here, total units required for production. So we have product K, T, then F. So under this, we have normal operation. If the company wants to produce, okay, normal operation. For K, I will then go back to the question. If the company wants to produce product K is 500 units, 800 units for T, then 1600 for F. That's normal production. So 500, 800, then 1600. So you then had special order to produce 400 units for each product. 400. So when you add all of this together, that will give us the total units required for production. Here will be 900, 1,200, then 2,000. So this is the total units. So for this company to fully maximize contribution, the company will need to produce 900 units of K, 1,200 units of T, then 1,200 units of F. Okay, so that's step one. Then step two, you need to confirm. Okay, examiner has told you that only 17,500 units of material K, so of material B are available. So you need to confirm the insufficiency in material B if truly that 17,500 units is not sufficient. Okay, so I would then say step two. Okay, I'm coming for you. Confirmation of insufficiency in material B. Kilogram. Okay. Yes, Kemi, go ahead with your question.
Sir, since we use a spare capacity to accept a special order, how do we know in this situation that if there is a spare capacity or not?
It is, examiner has already told you in the question that the budgeted sales units for the month of June do not include an order to supply from a major customer to supply 400 units. So it is implied in the question you already know what to do under special order. When we had the decision, short-term decision, that's the concept under special order, that you only a special order is a one-off contract, okay, that is usually available at a price below the market price of the company's final products. And the idea is that the company has spare capacity. So whenever you want to accept, even when we did the under short-term decisions, special order, examiner did not tell you that they have spare capacity. So it is implied. Anytime you have special order, it's implied that there's spare capacity. All right, Kemi.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So I will have unit, column for units, then material kilogram per unit, then total material kilogram. Okay. So we have product K, TF. Units, we have identified, we have calculated 900 for K, 1,200, then 2,000. Okay, so that's that. So we need to determine material kilogram per unit. I will then go to the question, what's the material cost? According to the question, for material B, the material cost for material B is 480 naira. Then material per unit is 120 naira. Remember, to get material kilogram is material cost divided by material per unit. All right, so 480 divided by 120, 720 divided by 120, 600 divided by 120 will give us the material kilogram. Okay, so 480 divided by 120 equal. Then I think the second one is 600. Let me check. 720, then 600. Here is 720 divided by 120. Then 600 divided by 120. So give it to me. 480 divided by 120. Okay. 480 divided by 120.
That's four.
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 465.
4 kilogram. Then 720.
6
That's
kilogram.
6 kilogram. Then 5 kg. All right. So to now get the total material kilogram, you multiply 900 multiplied by 4 will give us 3,600 kilogram. 1,200 multiplied by 6 will give us 7,200 kilogram. 2,000 multiplied by 5 will give us 10,000 kilogram. When you add everything together, this will give us total of 20,800. Okay, so this represents the total required material B kilogram. So you need to compare this with total available material B kilogram. We have only 17,500. All right, that's a shortfall. That's a
3,000,
shortfall. 2,000 watts.
3,000.
2,700, right? Or
No,
is
no,
it?
I said 3,300.
Oh, sorry, 3,300. Okay. So that's a shortfall. Okay. So that's that. Now we have confirmed that truly material B kilogram of 17,500 is not sufficient it's not sufficient to produce in order for Kikelomo to take advantage of market condition, that is, to maximize contribution towards profit. So if that is the case, now that we have confirmed this, we then move to the next step, which is to calculate. Of course, there is no minimum allocation here. So the next thing we want to do is to determine contribution per unit. So I would then say contribution per unit. Okay. For K, T, F. How do I calculate my contribution? In this question, there are two different ways you can calculate your contribution. You can either say contribution is selling price minus variable cost, or the faster approach would be to determine contribution by adding together fixed costs and the profits. So that's what I will do. All right. So instead of me to say selling price minus variable cost, because all those variable costs are many. I have direct material, I have direct labor, I have direct material for A, direct material for B, variable overhead. That's a long process. So when I can just do two line item, I will move on. So let's determine our contribution by saying fixed overhead plus profits. Okay, it's still the same thing you are going to get. So I will say fixed overhead plus profits. This will give us contribution. Okay. So fixed overhead for K, give it to me from the question. 240, then profit is 340. 240 plus 340. That's 580. What about T?
140,
140.
140,
540,
540. So that's 680. F.
240.
240,
And then
640.
that's 880. So we have determined profit contribution per unit. Step 4 says we should calculate contribution per key factor. In this case, key factor is material kilogram. So I would then say contribution per material B kilogram, material B kilogram. And then ranking, we need to rank our results. Okay. So we have product K, T, F. So the first item here will be the contribution. We have calculated contribution to be 580, 680, 880. Then we have also calculated material B kilogram. All right, material B kilogram to be 465. I think, let me confirm. Yes, 465 for KTF. Then I need to determine contribution. Contribution per, let me shorten it because of space. Contribution per material B kilogram. Let's say this is A, this is B, then A divided by B. Okay. So 580 divided by 4. What do you have?
145.
25.
145. 680 divided by 6.
113. 113.
113. 880 divided by 5.
176.
176.
176. So the next thing we need to do is to rank our results in a descending order. Ranking. The first one is F, followed by A, and third is product T. That's it. Next, allocation. Step 5. Allocation. What do you want to allocate? 17,500 kilogram of material B. So allocation of 17,500 kilogram of material B. Okay. So the first item will be the ranking. After ranking, we have products, units, material kilogram, total material kilogram, cumulative, balance, optimal product mix. First ranking, second ranking, third ranking. Based on our ranking, product F is the first. So FKT, we have FKT. Then the units required for F, based on our first step, units required for F is 2,000, 900 for K, then 1,200 for T. So 2,000, here will be 2,000, 900, then 1,200. Material per kilogram, all right, 546. Here is 546. We want to allocate 17,500 kilogram of material B. 2,000 multiplied by 5 will give us 10,000 kilogram. Of course, 17,500 can accommodate 10,000 kilograms. So put it down. Being the first allocation, cumulative is 10,000. 10,000 minus 17,500 will give us a balance of 7,500 after the first allocation. Then how many units of product F are we producing? We are producing 2,000 units since there is no restriction. Okay, let me rule my table. All right. Okay, let me do that one. All right. So the next allocation, 900 multiplied by 4 will give us 3,600. We have a balance of 7,500. So 7,500 can accommodate 3,600. So we allocate 36 plus 10,000 will give us 13,600. 13,600 minus 17,500. That should be, is that not 3,000? What's the difference? That should be, let me use calculate.
3,900.
2,900 balance.
3,900.
Okay, 3,900. Okay. Then how many units are we producing? We are producing 900 since there is no restriction. Okay. So 1,200 multiplied by 6 will give us 7,200. We don't have 7,200. We only have balance of 3,900 available. So you restrict your allocation to what you have, which is 3,900. 39 plus 13,6 will give us 17,500. 17,500 minus 17,500 will give us 0. Therefore, how many units of product T are we going to produce? This will give us 3,900 divided by 6. So what do you have there? Yeah. 3,900 divided by 6. Let me use my
650.
650.
650 units. We are producing 650 units. So here will be 650. That's it. I will then come here, working number 6, step 6, which is to determine optimal production plan or optimal product mix. Okay, so products, then units, product K, T, F. For K, we are producing 900. For T, we are producing 650. And then for F, we are producing 2,000. So that's what the examiner asks you to do in that B part. Okay? So let's move on. All right, so we are done with number B. 9 marks, you pocket it. Within few minutes, you are done, you pocket your 9 marks. Then let's move to number C. Femi, talk to me.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. I don't know, maybe because we have not finished, but I don't know, maybe there is still calculation ahead. But this, around that paragraph two, the question was like, 400 units. You added the 400 unit to the normal production. Now, but there is a clause there that there is going to be discount of 2 naira per unit. And we have already calculated the 400 unit to arrive at the contribution without taking cognizance of the 200 naira that is supposed to be for discount. So that's where the thing
Don't worry
threw me
now. When
off.
we get there, you see. We are yet to
Oh,
get there.
okay. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so number C. Number C, examiner is asking you that you are asked to calculate the lowest value of the financial penalty that the major customer will need to insert in the contract to ensure that Kikelomo Limited meets the order in full in June. All right. So examiner has told you that in this number C requirements, okay, let me just put it down so that it will be faster. Number C, requirement number C, financial penalty. We want to determine financial penalty. So what are you supposed to do to get your financial penalty? The most important thing you need to, okay, let me put it down. To determine the financial penalty, okay, to determine the financial penalty, the most important thing to do, the most important thing to do is to, one, calculate contribution margin, where the company, where Kikelomo cannot fully satisfy customer demand. Satisfied customer demand. Okay. Then two, determine contribution margin where where the company can fully satisfy the special order to produce 400 units for each product. Then three, calculate or estimate the financial penalty by finding the difference between the contribution margin the contribution margin calculated in one and two above. In step 1 and 2 above. Okay, so that's what you need to do. So because your intention ab initio is to maximize contribution. You know, when we started this topic, we said that optimal mix represent the process of allocating limited scarce resources among competing product lines in a judicious and efficient manner in order to maximize the organization's contribution. So your target is to maximize contribution. So if the company is unable to satisfy customer demand, how much financial penalty is the customer is going to insert in the contract? So in this case, and you know that as far as special order is concerned, your primary aim, your primary aim is to work under normal operation. You want to satisfy your normal operation. So if you want to fully satisfy your your normal operation, that means you are going to make special order secondary, which is consistent with the concept of uh, special order in the first place, because you are using spare capacity to produce special order. Now, so what we are now saying here is that for you to, the financial penalty would then be, okay, if I want to make special order secondary, that means my normal operation will be my primary focus. So if I have any spare capacity, I would then use the balance I have to produce the special order. That is on one instance, and this is a situation whereby you the company is that will be the step one, okay, which is to calculate contribution margin, where Kikeloma cannot fully you cannot fully satisfy customer order because you want to concentrate on your normal operation. Then the second part is for you to calculate contribution margin, where you are going to make special order the primary focus. Then whatever balance you have thereafter is what you are going to produce under normal operation. So the difference between the two contribution margin would then be the financial penalty. That's what you need to do in this instance. Therefore, you then pick it one by one. It's not just about a step one, step two. There are what you are going to do. There are some things you are going to do under each of them. So let's start with the first one, which is to calculate contribution margin, where customer order cannot be fully satisfied. So I can say A, contribution margin. Contribution margin where customer order cannot be fully satisfied. So in this case, because you cannot fully satisfy customer order, then in that case, it means that you are given high priority for normal operation. You are given high priority to normal operation. So if that is the case, pay attention to this. If you are given high priority to normal operation, remember, this company has only 17,500 kilogram of material B. So since you are given high priority to normal operation, so in that case, all those units that you want to produce under normal operation, the 500 units of K, I think 800, is it 800 for the second one? For T, according to, let me check from the
Yes,
question.
800, yes, sir.
So 800 for T
T.
and then 1600 for K. So you want to produce those ones first. Now, if you want to produce 500, 800, and 1600, how many kilogram of material B do you need to produce them? So whatever the balance of the material B kilogram you have thereafter, that's what you are going to use for the special order. So after you have calculated your production plan, then you now determine the contribution margin, take into consideration the discount. So quickly, let's go through this so that we don't waste so much time on this question. Now, step one, let me just put it down for you. Step one, okay, determine, because in this instance, we are saying that contribution margin where customer order cannot be fully satisfied. That means you want to give higher consideration for your normal operation. So in this case, we need to determine the material B requires, material B kilogram requires to produce under normal operation. So determine the material B kilogram, material B kilogram required to produce under normal operation. Okay. The balance, if any, the balance of material B, let me put it, the balance, if any, of material B kilogram will then be used, will then be allocated to each product for the special order. Okay, so let me show you. Let's quickly do that. We're moving to step 2 after this. So quickly, I will then come here. So calculating or determining material B, determining material B kilogram required for normal operation. Okay. So in this case, I would then say products, units, material kilogram per unit, then total material kilogram. So we have product K, T, F. We are producing 500 units under normal operation for K, 800 units for T, then 1600 for F. 465 is material kilogram we have calculated before. So the first one will be 2000 kilogram, 3000, 3200. Okay, then 1600 multiplied by 5 will give us 8000. This one, that's 4800. Rather, sorry, this is not correct. This is 4800. Okay, so add everything together. This will give us 14,800. So this represents the required total required material B for normal operation. Okay, then less total available material B 17,500. So the difference is the balance that will then be used to produce
2,700.
2,700 kilogram. Now, so the first step you need to do is to determine material B kilogram requires to produce under normal operation. So to produce under normal operation, we need 14,800 kilogram out of the 17,500 kilograms. So the balance of 2,700 will then be used to produce the special order. Okay? So the balance, if any, of material B will then be allocated to each product. All right. So I've even mentioned that step 2. Okay, let's say this is the step 2. I've already mentioned that this is step 2. Okay. So of course, I would then say allocation Step 2 now. Okay, let's do this way. Step 2. Let me remove that one. Step 2, allocation of 2,700. Allocation of balance of 2,700 kilogram of material B. Okay. So still remain the same thing. Ranking, unit products, units, material kilogram per unit, total material kilogram, cumulative balance OPM, first, second, third ranking. Based on our ranking, the first one is F, K, then T. Pay attention, please. Pay attention. Out of 17,500 kilogram of material B, we have allocated 14,800 kilogram for normal operation. And you want to produce 400 units for each product, 400 units of each product for special order. So here will be 400, 400, then 400. For F, F is 5, K is 4, then T is 6, 5, 4, 6, I think. Let me confirm that based on our ranking. Yes, 5, 4, 6. So 400 multiplied by 5 will give us 2,000. 2,000 under cumulative. 2,000 minus 2,700, we have balance of 700. Therefore, we want to produce 400 special order for F. 400 multiplied by 4 will give us 1,600, but you don't have 1,600, you only have 700. So you restrict to 700 for product K. 700 plus 2,000 will give us 2,700. Balance 2,700 minus 27 will give us 0. Therefore, how many units of K special order are you going to produce? That will be 700 divided by 4. Okay? 700 divided by 4. So that will give us
175.
175. 175 units. So, of course, dash, 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 dash. Here is 175. That's it. So at this point, I will determine my optimal mix. Step 3 now. Optimal mix. Optimal production. What's wrong with you? Optimal production plan. So under this, we have two different allocations now. So first thing first, the products, we have K, T, F. Under normal operation, we are producing 500 units of K, 800, then 1,600 for F. We have allocated 14,800 first out of the 17,500. So this is the first allocation. All right. Then the second allocation, which is special order in this case. For K, how many units of K are we producing on special order? 175. T dash F 400. So the total unit that will maximize contribution is 675 for K, 800 for T, then 2000 for F. So this is the production plan that will maximize contribution. So now that you have determined the production plan, the next thing you need to do, step 4, is to calculate contribution margin. Calculate contribution margin. Okay? So when you are faced with this kind of a question, you must be able to think outside the box, how you are going to articulate your points. If you look at if you go through the Pathfinder question and answer for this question, most students perform below average in this particular requirement, so they could not interpret the question. Even the way examiners solve it, you won't understand it, but you have to articulate your point. Think outside the box. What's the examiner asking you to do? What kind of financial penalty do I want to calculate? In fact, the students were, they don't even, there is no clear, they don't know, no idea of how to calculate financial penalty. They just did the first, second one, and, in any case, let's move on. Yes, go ahead, Ablatif.
I want to ask that at skilled level,
Yeah,
as a question of this nature came out,
what are the questions like this has come out before?
at skilled level, that's it.
Yes. What are question like this has come out before at skills level?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No. So this is the first time that ICAN will test this. So of course, when it comes like that, you just have to use your residual knowledge to tackle the question the way you understand it. That's it. Every question scenario differ. So however the question comes, then you face it headlong. But what is important is that you must digest, ensure you understand the question before you put your pen to paper. Because if you rush it without taking into consideration the requirements, then that may be a recipe for failure. Okay? So, yes, the first item here will be the production plan because we want to calculate contribution. Production plan, we are producing 675, 800, then 2000. Okay? Then, contribution per unit. Here is 580, 680, 880 naira. Then you multiply. This will give us total contribution. So 675 multiplied by 580. That's 391,500. Then for T, 800 multiplied by 680. 544.
824.
Then 2000 multiplied by 880. 1,760,000. So I will then add the three of them together to get the total contribution for the company. So plus 1,760 plus 391,500. That's 2695. Here is 2695. 95,500. Now, in this question, we have a discount for every unit of special order you produce. That's a discount of 200 naira. Remember, when you talk about special order is always available at a price below the company's quoted market price. So examiner is now telling you that if you produce that 400 units of each product for the special order, there's a discount of 200 naira. So we need to calculate discounts. We less discounts from the contribution, then you have net contribution margin. All right. So in this case, I would then say discounts. We have, based on our allocation, we are producing 175 units for K. K equal to 175 units multiplied by discounts of 200. Then for F, we are producing 400 units multiplied by a discount of 200 naira. Here will be 80,000 naira. Then 175 multiplied by 200, is that 35,000? Let me confirm.
35,000 naira.
Okay, 35,000 naira. When you add the two together, that will give us 115,000. Okay, so here is 35,000 minus, nothing goes to T. Then here is 80,000 minus. So 115,000 minus. All right. So minus 115,000. That's 2,580,500. 2,580,500. That's the net contribution margin. That's the net contribution margin. So let's solve for the second one. Let me complete this
For K,
first. Yes, for K is what?
356,500.
Okay. Then here will be
80,000.
1,680. So that's that. Then the second part, the step 2 of the financial penalty is to determine contribution margin where the company can fully satisfy customer order to produce 400 units. So what's the contribution margin for that? In this case, what we are saying is that the company wants to concentrate on the company wants to give high priority for special order. Then whatever balance you have thereafter is what you are going to produce for the normal operation. So contribution margin. Contribution margin, where customer order can be fully satisfied. Where customer order can be fully satisfied. Okay. So we have K, C, F, then total. So you will recall that initially we have determined production plan. We have determined production plan. That's where we started from in number B requirements. In that B requirement, we are producing 900 units of K. All right. Then we're also producing 650 for T, then 2,000 units of F. So in this production plan, since you want to give high priority for special order, it means that out of the 400 for K, sorry, out of the 900 units of K, you are going to give 400 for special order. For T, out of 650, you produce 400 units for special order, and then for F, out of 2,000, you first of all produce 400 units for customer order. So the balance is what you are going to sell for external customers. So that's the implication, because you are given high priority to special order. So under this circumstance, what will be your contribution margin? That's what we want to do. So I will then come a production plan. So for K, it's 900. Is it 900 or 650? Let me confirm again. Yes, 900, 650, 2,000. 650, 2,000. Then contribution per unit. 580, 680, 880. All right. So 900 multiplied by 580. 900. Pardon?
522,000.
522. Then 650 multiplied by 680.
442,000.
442. Then here is 1,760,000. We then add the three of them together. Okay. 522,000 plus
2 million.
44. Pardon?
2,724,000.
2,724,000. Thank you. So this represents the total contribution. Now, because we are given high priority to special order, we are producing out of this 900, 650, and 2,000 units of products K, T, and F. We are producing 400 units of special order for each product. So that means we are going to deduct discount of 80,000 naira per each product. So I will then come here discount 80,000. 80,000. 80,000. So here will be 240,000. So what do we have thereafter? So
For
let's
K,
find it. Yes.
for K, we have 442,000.
Okay. This is the net contribution.
For T,
Yeah.
we have 362,000.
Okay.
For F,
Yep.
we have 1,680,000.
680. Then we had the 2724 minus 240. That will give us 25.
2,484,000.
2,484,000. That's it. Then step 3. Based on the original step 3 says you should calculate financial penalty. So estimate financial penalty by finding the difference between the contribution margin calculated in step 1 and 2. So that's it. This question is supposed to be more than the mark allocated. So examiner is not fair. So I will come here, step 3. This is step 2. Then what did I call that one? Is this step 1? Okay, I call it A. Okay, let me see. Let me change it. A, B, C. So that will be different. So financial penalty. Okay. So like we said, the financial penalty will represent the difference between the contribution margin calculated in step A and B above. So in this case, I will say contribution margin. Okay, where customer order can be fully satisfied, can be fully, or you can say full order, full order. Then contribution margin, where there is partial order. Okay, the first one where we have full order, contributing where customer order can be fully satisfied. So here we have 2,480, 2,484,000. Then contribution margin where we can partially satisfy customer order is 2,580,500. 2,580,500. 2,580,500. So what's the difference?
96,500.
96,000.
500.
96,500 is the financial penalty to be inserted in the contract. That's it. So I can then say the financial penalty to be inserted in the contract is 96,500 naira. That's it. No need to talk stories. Okay, that's end of the question. End of the requirement. Yes, Michael, talk to me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Well done, sir.
You're welcome.
Sir, look, the full order and then partial order.
Yeah.
When we're subtracting it, so are we going to ignore the negative sign?
Of course, we've already, there's no need for you to put it in. If you put it in negative, that's not an issue. If you put negative, so you're still saying the same thing. There's a penalty. So penalty is more like a loss, isn't it?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, you can just ignore brackets, just move on. You've already calculated what you need to calculate. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Then the last part of the question, which is requirement number D, examiner is asking you that now assume that the shortage of material B is expected to continue far beyond June and management of Kikelomo Limited has decided to outsource the production of some of the products. Okay, advise the management of Kikelomo on the advantages and disadvantages of outsourcing. Okay, so in any case, you can pick that one in your Pathfinder questions, just advantages and disadvantages. They are theoretical, they are purely theoretical. So you can just, let's move on to linear programming. We have about 1 hour more. You can imagine, we spend 1.5 hours on this question. Although, if you are the only one solving it, it can't be this long. By now, you'll be on the third illustration. third question rather. Okay. So let's talk about linear programming. However, let me see if do you have any question on this, any concern on the question we just solved so that we can move to the next one? Yes, Kemi, talk to me quickly.
Excuse me, sir. I'm so sorry. I don't know if we can go to the first question solved last week, if it's possible. I just have a question on it. If it's not possible, that's no problem.
I should go back to the first question I solved last week.
If it's possible, sir.
No, talk to me. What's your concern on the question?
On the allocation, we allocated some units. So while calculating the total profit, we just use
Yeah.
the profit of the unit allocated. I'm just concerned about the fixed cost. Since they said the maximum demand, they've given us the units to be that has been demanded in the
Yeah.
question, as in the maximum unit of that the customer. I don't know. That's the maximum unit they've given us in the question, and they gave us fixed cost per unit for each of the products. So why are we now using the fixed cost? We use profit by the unit that has been allocated.
I understand your questions. Let me clear your
Okay.
doubts. See, there is no need for you to be stressing yourself on the day of your exam when you are faced with such circumstance. See, in the question, you have calculated contribution, right? So your contribution in the question was fixed cost plus profit, isn't it?
Yes,
Now, examiner is now asking you to determine profit derivable. So to do that, since already profit per unit has been given to you, examiner has given to you profit per unit, and you yourself has determined optimal production plan. So all you need to do is to multiply the production plan with the profit per unit. So there's no need for you to deduct contract to deduct a fixed cost again. Because for you to be able to deduct fixed cost, that means you want to create additional uh, two effort for yourself. Let me call it that way. Because if you want to follow that route, you first of all multiply the production plan with the contribution per unit to get total contribution. Then you also multiplied the fixed cost per unit as given to you. You multiply with the production plan for you to get your total fixed cost. Then you now deduct the fixed cost from the total contribution to get your total profit. So you don't want to follow that route. Examiner has already given to you profit. Profit is contribution minus fixed cost. So there is no need for you to consider fixed cost again in that circumstance. Tell me.
Okay. Yes, sir. What you are saying now is that what we've allocated to each of the products, that's the unit we use for the piece cost per unit, going
Yes.
by our no, we won't
Yeah,
follow
because,
on the question.
pardon?
We won't follow the unit that has been specified in the question for the calculation of the piece cost.
No. It depends. That's what I'm saying. You don't need fixed cost. That's what I'm saying. You don't need fixed cost in this circumstance because profit has already been given to you. So you ignore fixed cost. Why do you want to be
Oh,
calculating fixed cost when you already have profits?
okay, sir.
Why do you
And
want to be So for you to now determine your fixed cost, irrespective of the unit produced, your fixed cost will not change. So your fixed cost is supposed to be based on the budgeted output. Sure you get,
that's
like
what
we
I'm
did.
saying. If we on budgeted output,
I
even
know.
the routes that we use in it won't be on the budgeted output.
His fiscal
Stated on
your fiscal will always be on the budgeted output, except that if you are not given,
that,
it will always be because it will not change. Your fiscal has already been
that's
incurred.
okay, sir.
Hello? Is it clear
That's where
now?
my concern is.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
clear the way you're.
It's all right. No qualms. So yes, any other questions so that I can stop this? Okay.